let's begin with our opening statements. The candidates are seated in front of you in the order that they will appear on the ballot on Tuesday, May 1st. So, welcome, please, to Ms. Janice Miller.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Janice Miller and I'm running for re-election to the City Council for the fourth time. A lifetime ago, or at least it seems like a lifetime ago, my husband and I moved to Fairfax City with a 2-year-old and a baby on the way. We were like many of you. We didn't know much about Fairfax City, but we found a house we liked and one we could afford. We discovered that our city is a real community with a sweet hometown feel and populated by the best people anywhere. Making the decision to buy in Fairfax City defined our adult lives and gave our children a place to call home. Our 4 kids, 3 boys and a precious daughter, went to Fairfax City schools and graduated from Fairfax High School. I was your typical suburban mom. I was involved in PTA, I was a room mother, and helped whenever and wherever at school. I was also president of Fairfax Little League and girls basketball commissioner and loved helping our student athletes. My leadership in youth activities led to my 29 years of service on the city school board. While I am content with my many volunteer activities, I am most proud of my involvement with our schools and most importantly with our students. When my husband passed away in 2013, I did everything that people said don't do. I sold my house of 40 years, I moved to a condo, I decided to retire from the school board and looked for a change in my life. When Steve Stombrace and Dan Drummond decided to retire from the City Council in 2014, I knew the opportunity was at hand. I've enjoyed serving you this past 4 years, and I hope that I've earned your trust and you will vote to re-elect me on May the 1st. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. John Steele.
Well, thank you. And first off, thank you to Amy, Elizabeth, the entire League of Women Voters for putting this on tonight. It is a lot to attend, a lot to put together, and thank you all for attending. I also want to give a special thank you to Larry and Hildy with the civic associations. They've reached out to over 50 civic associations, which are the backbone of our community, to get the word out for here this evening. I'm excited to be up here this evening for the opportunity to discuss with my fellow colleagues on council and those seeking to be on the dais the future of our community. 2 years ago, I had the privilege of being elected to serve on your city council. I am proud of the work we as a council in collaboration with our community leaders have accomplished since then. Just last month, we shared with the community the city's inaugural citizen-centric report. I think it was an excellent step forward in how we continue to tell the story of the stewardship we're giving in making our community what it is today. I want to thank the school board seated in front of us here for their partnership as we as a city applied for and received recognition in the Stairway to Success program for our work in early childhood education. As always, there is much work to do. I look forward to answering your questions in the discussion this evening about the future of our city. Thank you all.
Thank you. Ms. Jennifer Passy.
Good evening. Thank you to the City League of Women Voters, Central Fairfax Chamber for co-hosting this forum. And thank you to city staff for their work to air this live on Channel 12. And of course, thank you to all of you for attending here this evening and those watching at home. My name is Jennifer Passy, and I am running for re-election to your City Council. My family moved here in 2010 after serving overseas. We often tell the story of how we bought our house sight unseen, and it was the best decision we made. I also work here. I am the Marketing and Communications Manager for Girls on the Run of Nova, with our offices just down the street from here. I have continuously looked for ways to use my skills and knowledge to contribute and give back to the community that so kindly welcomed my family when we moved here in 2010. I started with serving as the VP of Civic Affairs with the Country Club Hills Civic Association. I was then appointed to the city's Planning Commission in 2011 and as the Planning Commission's rep to our city's Park and Recreation Advisory Board in 2012. And of course, most recently, I have had the privilege of representing you on your City Council the past 7 months after being elected in September of 2017. I care deeply about this city. I say regularly that we are at a pivotal time in our city's history. I want to challenge us to not only think about the issues and solutions of today, but also to think of them through the lens of future generations. The decisions we make today will affect our children and our children's children. Great things are happening with more to come on the horizon, and I'm hopeful for the opportunity to work together with you to make decisions as a community that will serve us now and for future generations. Thank you and I look forward to the discussion.
Thank you. Mr. Michael DeMarco.
Great. Well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here tonight. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters, the Chamber, and the City for sponsoring and hosting this event. I am Michael DeMarco, a third-term council member and running for re-election on May 1st, and I'm asking for your vote. I'm sure by now most of you know my background and record. You can find out more about me by reviewing the literature in the back of the room or checking my website. What I want to talk about tonight is the great opportunity we all have in front of us. We are fortunate that state funds for infrastructure and investment dollars for businesses are at an all-time high. This is a great economic signal for the continued financial health of our community and the well-being of all who live and work in the city. Change is difficult and takes time, but it is imperative for us to embrace change in order for the city to stay healthy in a very healthy region. I believe we can find a good balance of right-sized development while protecting our neighborhoods and allowing for walkable and easy connections from all parts of our city to our restaurants and retail establishments. I have every confidence that as a council, we are on the right track. If we're serious about keeping our status as the place with low property taxes and great services, then we must work harder to compete. We need to plan for a city that has great places to gather and can be the city for all ages and backgrounds to call home. We need to work toward a city that is for everyone with engaged residents and strong businesses. Please support my campaign, but most importantly, vote on May 1st.
Thank you. Mr. Joseph Harmon.
Well, good evening, folks. My name is Joe Harmon, and I'm running for Fairfax City Council. I want to start off first by thanking Amy and Elizabeth, especially for organizing tonight's event, and all of the volunteers, because this event gives me an opportunity to introduce myself to those of you I haven't had a chance to meet yet in our community. So a little bit about me. I came to Northern Virginia originally as an active duty Marine, and my last duty station here was at the Pentagon. So I moved to the city then in 1996 and have lived here for 22 years, and really kind of enjoyed and started the outset of joining the community shortly after I got here. I was originally appointed to the Industrial Development Authority, served there for a couple of years, and then I was appointed to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board after that, and served on that board for about 8 years. Half of that time, I was actually the chairman of that board for about 4 years. And then the last 4 years, I was fortunate enough to have the City Council appoint me to the Planning Commission, and I've been serving on the Planning Commission for the last 4 years. So I have 3 children. My oldest daughter, Erin, is serving in the Air Force, and my other 2 children are both attending Fairfax High School. I think that it's important that we look towards the future, and I hope to be a part of the council to make that happen. And so I also ask for your vote then on May 1st. As my day job, I should mention, I'm an IT project manager, but most importantly, I'm a small businessman. And so I hope to bring that experience to the council as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Sang Yi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sang Yi, and thank you all so much for spending your evening to be here tonight. And thank you to the League of Women Voters for bringing us together, and also to my fellow candidates for stepping up and participating in this process. You know, that's part of what makes Fairfax City such a special place. It's not just a place, it's not just a home, it's a family, it's a community. And that's exactly the reason why my wife Sarah and I, after we were married, we sought out this place. It's an oasis in the Washington metropolitan area that has a small town feel. And both of our children are very lucky to have been born here as city residents. Professionally, I have extensive experience in the government. I serve as a senior aide on Capitol Hill, and I work on oversight issues for the government, as well as on natural resources issues. I also serve in uniform in our U.S. Navy Reserve as Lieutenant Commander. Meeting so many of you at your door so far, and also around town, I've committed myself to listening to and learning from you. And as your council member, I'll also be committed to understanding your concerns and incorporating your ideas to collaborate on solutions that we can all embrace. Thank you for your attention tonight, and I look forward to our discussion.
Thank you. Mr. Tom Ross.
Thanks to the League of Women Voters and each of you for being here this evening. 38 years ago, my family and I moved to the city of Fairfax. Like many, we found this special place purely by chance, and a journey that has led us through raising 2 children, a number of dogs and cats, and a deep and enlightening appreciation for this place we call home. Home is where we have a wonderful sense of community. Home is where we can walk into City Hall for help, where we can easily participate in civic discourse, where we have access to some of the best community services in Northern Virginia, where neighbors care for one another, and where we celebrate our community at special events and festivals, and where we honor our past. Home is where an elderly resident gets help from a neighbor, where children feel safe walking to school, where neighborhood organizes to assist neighbors shovel snow. Home is where the city helps people after a bad storm. One more item about our home. We also have the second lowest residential tax rate in Northern Virginia. There is no question that we have issues. These concern too much development, traffic, empty storefronts, over the future costs of our excellent services. We are seeing major change occurring in and around us, and for many it is troubling. But as we do, let's not forget this special place and how we want it to be in the future. I look forward to tonight's dialogue and sharing our perspective. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Solin.
Thank you everyone for being here tonight, and I greatly appreciate League of Women Voters and the Fairfax Chamber of Commerce for hosting this event. My name is So Lim. My husband Mark and I have been living in the city of Fairfax for almost 20 years. I'm a business owner. I've been operating an insurance agency since 1992, and for the past 20 years, it's been here in the city. I started my agency scratch and been very successful by doubling its size 4 times in the last 26 years. My secret to success in my business is my ability to listen, being proactive, and being reliable and dependable to my clients and to my employees. I was the past president of the Korean American Association of the Greater Washington, being the voice and an advocate for 250,000 Korean Americans living in the DMV area. I sit on many boards, including George Mason University School of the Arts, as well as many domestic and international nonprofit organizations. I come from very humble means. Now that I've made something of myself, I want to give back to the community that has been so generous and given me and my family so much opportunity. I want to bring new and fresh ideas and perspectives, communicate proactively with you to create and deliver our dream and vision for the city. A best place to live, work, and play. Thank you.
Thank you. Our first question will go to Ms. Miller, Mr. Staley, Ms. Passy, and Mr. Marco. What have you done for our city that you are most proud of?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to answer that question. What I've done for this community that I'm the most proud of is my service on the school board. I was on the school board for 29 years. It was not only about rebuilding infrastructure and working with the community to make that happen in a meaningful way, but it's also about opportunities for our students. While on the school board, I always believe that one of the principal ideas and one of the principal responsibilities of the school board is to protect everyone's property values while offering the best possible opportunities for our students. And I believe that our schools do that. On the city council, I think that I bring the perspective of a longtime resident, and I believe I am a good listener and willing to work with everyone and to be a consensus builder. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Staley.
Well, thank you for the question. You know, when I started this effort 2 years ago, I had a vision that we'd be able to share with you all what we're doing with the investment you're making here in the city of Fairfax. Working with my colleagues and a national nonprofit, we reached out to over 6 universities around the nation and together created our first annual citizen-centric report. There are 2 things I'm proud about that. One, we came together collaboratively. We leveraged the thoughts of outsiders to looking at our city to what makes it special, and then we reflected what is special to us about it. That story is incredibly important. The second element I'm proud of is the annual nature of that. It's fundamentally changing the way we're going to communicate and dialogue with you all. If you haven't seen the 18-minute video that's online about how we're doing on our goals and objectives, I'd encourage you to watch it. It's about the storytelling we're doing, that openness and engagement with you all. Very excited we got that on our first year, and I look forward to the opportunity to be part of your second annual report.
Thank you. Ms. Passy.
Yes, well, thank you. I am a communicator. My background is in communications professionally, and I enjoy engaging with people one-on-one and in groups. And what I've done is working with my neighborhood, working with friends and engaging them and introducing them to things that they aren't involved in. So when I joined the planning commission, a lot of the moms in the moms group, what's the planning commission, what does that do? And so just engaging them in conversation and showing them what our city really has to offer, other than what our day-to-day lives that can get so busy. Specifically here, since I've been on city council in the past 7 months, one of the things that I'm very passionate about is our environment. And so I've been working with our environmental sustainability group and our coordinator, and George Mason student that came to us. And we'll be starting a pilot program for composting this spring. Thank you.
Mr. Marco.
Well, thank you for the question. I've been actively involved in the city for over a decade, starting on the Economic Development Authority for several years, and then running for council in 2010, getting elected in 2012. And so I bring a lot of business experience, and so I think one of the things I'm most proud of is my ability to use my talents and my skills in service to the community. I believe I'm an active listener, I'm an active learner, and I like to make decisions based on facts and not always on emotion. And so I think I do a good job of bringing that balance to the council. I do believe also that I've had a direct impact on the dialogue that we've had on the council about implementing the strategy that is laid out in our comprehensive plan. And I think that is intended to spur economic growth, right balance growth and development, all in the name of improving our quality of life. And I've been very happy with the way things have been going from that perspective.
Thank you. Our second question is to Mr. Harmon, Mr. Lee, Mr. Ross, and Ms. Lynn. What experience or expertise do you have in city affairs that you will bring to city council for the next 2 years?
So I get to go first? Yay. Wow, there's really a lot in terms of experience. As I mentioned, I've been serving on a number of boards and commissions here in the city for quite some time. As I mentioned, I moved to the city in '96, and I really kind of joined the life of the community shortly after moving here. In terms of experience, like I mentioned, I served on the Industrial Development Authority when we used to have a Industrial Development Authority. It merged with the EDA, and then I was on PRAB, as I mentioned, and on the Planning Commission. So in terms of direct experience, I would say I feel as if I have a good understanding what the issues are in terms of our parks and recreation, in terms of what we need to do to move forward to take care of what we have, which I think is supremely important. And then I've been working on the comprehensive plan that's coming to fruition here shortly, our 2035 comprehensive plan, and I feel that I have a really good understanding of all of those issues going forward. And so I think I'm pretty deep and have a lot of strengths on those things. So thank you for the question.
Thank you. Mr. Lee.
So one of the first things that my wife and I did when we moved to this city was try to get engaged. And I took on this, let's say, honorable, wonderful experience of being my HOA's president. For those of you who have ever served in your HOA, you know it comes with some great distinct honors, but usually not. So that was one of the ways that I think helped me engage with my direct neighbors first. I think that's very important to be a city council member, to know what's going on in your own neighborhood first. Secondly, as a member of the veterans community, I served as the second vice commander of our American Legion Post, and got to meet a very diverse demographic of our city. We have a lot of seniors, we have young families, and the American Legion kind of has it all. And lastly, I served as our city's appointed member to the Fairfax Alcohol Safety Action Policy Program Board. So, as the guy with the shortest last name up here, I picked the longest possible name to the board of commission and chose that. So I represent our city there. And I think all of that means to say, it means to bring in a lot of different cross sections in our city. And that's what I hope
Ross.
Thank you. I have been a resident of the city for 38 years, and from day one, I became involved with the local civic association, the Fairview Citizens Association. I've also served as the president of Ole Hill Civic Association, served 10 years on the Planning Commission, including 3 years as chair of the city's electoral board most recently, served on the Charter Commission, and also a variety of other boards and committees within the city. My belief is service. I think I know this city well, I know our community well, I am a good listener, a good advocate for the community and its future. I believe I can hit the ground running when we take office on July 1st. I look forward to serving and bringing the depth and breadth of my experience in this community to my role as a member of City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Lynn.
Well, as a George Mason University board member for the School of the Arts, I was probably indirectly helping or working with the City of Fairfax, serving as a steering committee member for the Arts by George event. As I know many of you probably attend the event, which is a scholarship fundraising event they host every year. So I served as a steering committee member. And not only that, but being a president of the Korean American Association for the past 2 years, I've indirectly affected many of the residents that live in the city of Fairfax. And I believe my experience working and collaborating with the Virginia government, Maryland government, DC government, as well as the Fairfax County can be very helpful to the city of Fairfax.
Our next question is directed to Mr. Staley, Ms. Passy, Mr. DeMarco, and Mr. Harmon. What do you think is the one biggest issue the city is facing right now, and how would you address it? Mr. Staley.
Well, thank you for the question. To me, and I'm a strategist by nature, adopting our new comprehensive plan is critically important. We've had a lot of community input on it. It is working its way through the Planning Commission to come before City Council. That is going to set the tone for where we will be when my daughter Zoe and son Cooper are in high school, college, and beyond. We're paving the way for the future. And that's why I think it's so critically important we talk to them. I am pleased that George Mason Student Government right now is looking at our comprehensive plan. I'm excited for the opportunity to take it to the elementary schools and high schools and talk to them about what it is and how it guides our decision-making process. There is a way we make decisions in the city. We come together, we listen to each other, we adopt it, and we move. And that's the process we're in right now, and that's why we need a council to continue that process, hit the ground running, and get it across the goal line to begin to execute. Thank you.
Ms. Passy.
In addition to the comprehensive plan adoption, we also have numerous amounts of economic development and then redevelopment projects ahead of us. As a former planning commissioner, I often say good planning today yields good growth tomorrow. We need to engage as a community and decide what we want to do with some of these specific developments. I need to get civic engagement and get feedback from residents who have been here for a long time and some residents who have moved here just 1 to 2 years ago or 3 months ago. One of our City Council goals is to focus on economic development and the redevelopment projects. So I'd like us to focus and really understand what it is that will help our economy thrive here in the next 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. DeMarco.
Well, thank you for the question. I'm going to focus on the how and not so much the what. I think one of the things that is a big issue and a priority for us is a little bit about our culture and our values. And I think one of the things we need to do in short order is strengthen our values around collaboration and problem solving. As I mentioned in an earlier answer, we must actively listen and learn as part of the decision-making process. And that process must be based on a strategy and on facts and not so much on emotion and sensationalism. And I think we also need to build a culture of regional collaboration. There are a lot of problems that we all face, not just in the city of Fairfax, but in the surrounding areas as well. And we must work with the county, regional agencies, and Richmond. So, that change in culture, that change in values really starts with our elected officials. And I think it's important for us to work on those in the next 2 years.
Mr. Harmon.
Thank you for that question. And I understood the question to mean what is the single biggest issue, so I'm going to talk about what I think is the single biggest issue. And the single biggest issue in the city, from what I see, is our business community. It doesn't take long as you drive down Fairfax Boulevard and Main Street that you'll notice that there's a number of storefronts that are empty. And we need to take care of that in one way or another. There are a lot of things that we can do, some of the issues of things that we can do to make things different, but if you've ever heard the term location, 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 I would say destination, destination, destination. We need to have a sense of place in Fairfax City. And right now, as you drive down Fairfax Boulevard, it looks like a row of strip malls. I would like to take some time over the next couple of years, if I'm fortunate enough to get elected, to try to attempt to change that and create a sense of destination. And I'm running out of time. I would like to talk more about what destination means, but that I think is our single biggest issue. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. Our next question is addressed to Mr. Yee, Mr. Ross, Ms. Lynn, and Ms. Miller. What would be your special way of communicating with the residents of our city? Do you have any specific ideas for better communication with disadvantaged or minority groups?
The last name like why? I was the last great deal of preference. But I think this is a really important question because of the way our city is developing and growing. We have a lot of new demographics here, that I mentioned earlier, younger families, but also minority communities. Personally, for me, I was born in South Korea, so I'm an immigrant and moved to the country when I was 4 years old. And so the Korean American community especially is a very close community for me. And I think that if you look at our civic engagement with the Korean American community, it's not where it can be. So I'd love to engage more of that community, but also our younger communities. We have a transient society here, so young working professionals come and live here and don't get engaged in our community. Again, that's another bridge I'd like to be for the city council, our government, and our neighborhoods. Because again, this is about community. This is about being one family together. A family that doesn't talk is no family at all.
Ms. Miller.
Thank you for that question. As has been pointed out, we are becoming a very increasingly diverse community, not only of age and sex, but also of different ethnic backgrounds. That's exciting. That's the place we came to call home 38 years ago when we first settled in the Fairview subdivision and looked at the diversity of populations that existed. As my kids went to school and found different cultures and different languages, it has been an exciting time for us in Northern Virginia. My daughter is from Thailand. My former daughter-in-law is from the Republic of Georgia. My grandson speaks 2 languages. That's the wave of the future. That's what we're becoming. One of the most important things I think we can do as civic leaders is take the communication from City Hall out into the neighborhoods. It's so critical to engage people on their front doors, in the places they work, in the places they play. For me, civic engagement is taking place where people live and play, and not in just typical settings like this. It's at their location where they live.
Currently, we have many events at the parks here in the city of Fairfax, but I would like to add an International Day, International Festival, where we can embrace all different ethnicity background individuals that are living in the city of Fairfax. I have done it in the past as the president of the Korean American Association, and that would bring out the people that I don't see here and get them more engaged in our city, and an opportunity for them to meet the city of Fairfax leaders, to get them more involved in the community by involving in the committees, and possibly running for city council in the future. So I would definitely encourage that. In addition, as far as communication, we're always sending a piece of mail to all of our residents here in the city of Fairfax, as well as business owner. I recommend stuffing 1 more extra paper, something like this. Cuba schedule all the events that are coming up in the future. I suggest it doesn't cost extra money to stuff 1 more piece of paper in an envelope to be sent out to the residents and the business owners.
Thank you. Ms. Lynn.
Thank you. I think communication is the key to success. This past year, actually in the past month, Fairfax City hired its first communication director in about 15 to 20 years. This will be helpful for all of us in that it gives us an opportunity to develop a structure on how to communicate with all of you. That said, technology also is a key. One of the things I've learned is that everyone has their own way of how they reach out for information, whether that's Facebook, YouTube, tweeting, whatever. So technology is important. The last thing is showing up. 99% of life is showing up and paying attention to what's going on. And it's important for council members to attend community events, to meet people at coffee shops, to go to city activities, to meet people at school and various other events. So I believe that those are some of the things we can all do to communicate better.
Thank you. Our next question is for Ms. Passy, Mr. DeMarco, Mr. Roman, and Ms. Kennedy. The residents within the city have great pride in the high levels of services and care available to them from the city's career firefighters and paramedics. Yet the budget proposals from both the current and previous fire chiefs have met with resistance. How do you believe you would be able to rectify the current staffing shortages and ensure the fire department is growing in order to meet the increased demands of services now and into the near future?
Thank you. First off, it's communication. Making sure that our communication lines are open with our fire chiefs, our firefighters, and our safety staff. And I believe we do have that. One of the things is that we've had some of our positions, particularly under a safer grant. And so they funded some of our positions with this money, grant money. That grant money is now coming up, and so we have to reapply. When we reapply, that changes the dynamics a little bit. However, what I am committing to do is I want us to understand as a council and make sure that we are for the safety of our firefighters as well as providing the proper services to our community. And that would mean that we have to really seriously look at these positions and funding them ourselves.
Mr. Chairman.
Well, when it comes to budget season, it's always a dialogue. Our first responders are very important in the city. They do an excellent job. And it's a fair percentage of our budget as well. And we need to support them in their request. And it is a balance between the city manager's final proposal and those items in the budget that were proposed by both the police chief and the fire chief. And so we have the discussions during the budget season. And when it comes to staffing, I think it's most important for us to include the staffing that is necessary, that is requested by both the police and fire departments to include in the budget. And I think that will happen. The other issue that we have is it's very difficult for our first responders to actively live in the city. And so it's expensive to live here. And so when we think about our first responders, we have to think not only about the physical,